Everybody, welcome back to another episode here in the Lion's Den. I promise you, dude, this gonna be tripping sometimes. Technology be glitching on me sometimes.
Right.
We tried to shoot this once already, and Road Connect apparently has a max out of audio recordings that you can do. And that's what was happening there. So I went back and deleted everything out of the Road Connect app itself. So word to the wise on everybody out there that is using Road Connect or looking to use Road Connect. Fantastic software. Just it can't hold an unlimited amount of podcasts. So, but today's special guest is one of my second clients in the real estate space. He is known. One of his nicknames is the 6'7" Realtor, Mr. Adrian Henning. What's up, dude?
Not much, man. How's it going? Happy to be here.
Good to have you on, man. Thanks for your patience with this podcast.
Hey, no problem, man.
Man, so hey, I know a lot about you, and I know that we're gearing up for the holiday season, and we're going to dive into that portion as well. So tell them a little bit about who you are and what brought you into the world of real estate.
Yeah, good evening, good morning, world. This is Adrian Henning. I've been a realtor for 4 years. I serve the middle and West Tennessee area. That'll be like Nashville back to like Jackson, Tennessee, all back here to Memphis and all areas in between. I also work in the Georgia area. I'm just recently became licensed in Georgia.
Cool.
Soon to be coming California. I got into real estate because when I came out of playing basketball, I was kind of like looking for something that would allow me to have a similar lifestyle. Mm-hmm. Having the free time that I had playing, ball. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to go the 9-to-5 route. Like nothing's wrong with that, but definitely just wanted to do something like that allowed the freedom that I was used to having. Mm-hmm. And really, my mom used to watch HGTV all the time. Like,
HGTV?
And I didn't really realize that it had kind of grew on me because she watched it so much, like Design on a Dime and different shows like that. And these shows I used to like really watch and kind of get into and just like the idea of people transforming their spaces. Mm-hmm. And so that just kind of like, I was always intrigued with real estate a little bit. And then, you hear just, you read magazines, and you hear different like successful people talking. They always be like, oh, I do real estate. I want to do real estate.
Right.
So it just kind of like piqued my interest. I love working with people. I hate monotony. And I like the, fact that like no 2 days are really alike in real estate and working with different people. You got different personalities and stuff. So it was just one of those things I feel like I could get in and I wouldn't get bored with. And I just gave it a try and, look up 4 years later and here I am, and I'm still in it and love it more than anything and probably will always keep real estate as a part of what I do for the rest of my life.
There you go. It's good. So are you personally flipping homes or are you just being the realtor?
That was the game plan. I got into real estate really as a, gateway into doing development and stuff like that. I actually haven't started yet, but I've been building out slowly. Okay. This year, I just got my contractor's license, so I can kind of manage and handle my own projects and stuff like that. I think ownership is just important, so I could have maybe got in it sooner and like kind of worked with other people and went that route. Right. For me, that's just not the route for me, so I'm doing it like a little at a slower pace, but we definitely gonna get there for sure.
That's awesome, man. So with a lot of people, like everybody saw the YouTubers, making millions and millions or whatever amount of money, living in mansions, driving around in Lamborghinis, and they thought that, oh, it's so easy, right? But they don't realize that there's a process to it all. So if they're looking to get into the real estate game, let's say for Tennessee, right? What is the reality of actually going through that course? What should they be expecting there?
Well, the big thing is just just like with a course you're taking in college, it's all about what's the important information, the information I actually need that's going to benefit me in this profession. And, and sometimes, depending on your instructor, that can go one or two ways. You have professors who can make a class really easy. You have other professors who can make classes really hard. And, I think the big thing is just making sure you know which information is something that you need to keep and hold on to, and what's like what you need just to pass the test.
Right.
And but the big thing, just studying and just making sure you on top of that. I think anybody who's an agent would tell you is that what you learn to pass the test is not necessarily anything that's gonna make you a good agent out there once you get out there in the field.
Right.
So just knowing that, hey, I need this information now to pass, but only some of this information I have is, gonna be truly what it takes to be a successful agent.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So was the studying challenging, hard?
I think that just kind of varies, depending on your habits. But like I would say that it is kind of hard just because of the amount of questions. I think the national part is 80 questions, and I think the state part is around 40 questions. Mm-hmm. And I think just the big part of the 80 questions is not knowing exactly where those questions are going to come from. The real estate exam encompasses a lot of things, just like math. Mm-hmm. It also has vocabulary. Mm-hmm. And also it has like practical application as well. So, you can't get away. It's not a one style type of test. It covers a lot of different things, so for a person who might be good with facts and figures and names, the math still may be a issue for you, So
Right.
It's just like, and then you may have the math and the vocabulary, but then the comprehension part of like understanding what they're asking you. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely a multi-level test. And I would say, so you got to be kind of well-rounded and,
Right.
and be ready for that.
Yeah, that's I can relate to that because as I was studying for my CDL, the permit that I got, I failed the general knowledge 3 times. I passed on the fourth time, and I literally maxed out on the number of ones I could get wrong.
Right.
I still passed, but the thing is that like you said, it's not exactly just a simple short answer. Sometimes they're like on tires that are not the front tires. So then you're going to go, on the front tires. So
Right.
and they purposely throw words in there, so you have to pay attention to the wording. You can't just be like, okay, boom, okay, boom.
Right.
Like
And
you
I know
have
some
to,
tests are like that, and it's like the real estate test is not like that. They're going to definitely throw things in there to kind of trip you up. So you definitely need to read the questions like fully and then
a couple
come
times
back and
slowly.
answer. Yeah, because you'll think you know it, but then you don't. And they'll throw you know how it is, they'll throw the easy answer down there for you too, to make you think, oh yeah, that's the one, but it's not.
Exactly. It's almost like a trick question. Right. So with all your knowledge now that you've got, you're being licensed in multiple states, which is pretty cool. Congratulations on the new. You said Georgia, right? You just qualified for Georgia, and you're going after California.
Absolutely.
Awesome, man. You're gonna kill it. You got this, man. Come on, you got this. You got this,
man. Hope so.
Different levels of greatness over here. Yeah. So, from what you've experienced so far, looking forward in the real estate game, because we see people buying houses $20,000 and $30,000 over asking price. So, should investors, first-time buyers, seasoned buyers, should they keep on buying, or should they wait until those astronomical prices fall down a little bit?
The honest answer is I think that they should buy now.
Okay.
And the reason why is if you got to look at the economy as a whole.
Okay.
And if you look at the economy as a whole, inflation is a real thing right now. I think last year during the pandemic, the government gave out a lot of money and gave a lot of forgiveness for loans and, things of that nature. If you were renting a home, they gave you forgiveness because, it was unprecedented times.
Right.
So, you obviously didn't want the economy to go into a free fall and, that would make things even worse. Mm-hmm. So they've pumped a lot of money in. But where we are right now is in a situation where, inflation, the cost of goods is going up rapidly and kind of like sustainable. If you go to the grocery store, like look at how much milk costs, look at how much potatoes cost, how much avocados cost. Everything is going up. So the thing about buying a home is you don't want to get caught in that situation where, interest rates go back up.
Right.
When interest rates go back up, that means what you're paying for where you stay is going to increase as well. Mm-hmm. And then you got to think when you're buying a house, you got higher interest rates. So over the course of 30-year mortgage, which most people get, if you're paying high interest rates, you're going to be paying way more for the house over a 30-year time. So my mindset would be, and on top of that, with the rising cost of your goods and services like gas and stuff like that, your cost of living is just going to be higher.
Right.
So we need as many fixed costs and costs that we know what we're going to pay every month. We need as many of those as possible.
Right.
So let's get a house and lock in these low interest rates right now while interest rates are low, while the economy is, they're very accepting of home buying. Let's lock in a low interest rate and a low monthly payment. So it doesn't matter if gas go to $5, you got a place to stay. Because best believe if you're renting and you don't own your home, guess what's also going to go up when inflation goes up? Your rent. Your rent is going to go up as well. So why stay in a place, pay $1,000 this month, next month pay $1,200, the month after that, the year after that pay $1,350, when you can just get a house and pay $1,100 year after year after year after year after year. So I think now would definitely be the time to buy opposed to waiting.
So let me ask you this, because I'm not a homeowner, so I rent where I live, right? So you're about to teach me a whole new world into real estate, which is kind of weird because I follow a whole bunch of real estate type people. And I've kind of just discovered that even though I've been following these people, I've just been kind of listening to them as background noise,
Right?
And not actually paying attention to what they're saying. Because most of the time in videos, people will skip over like, just come and do this with me and you'll be all good to go, and you'll go and do it, and there's like a whole world of detail in there. So you're fixing to really educate me on things right now. So,
For sure.
so let me ask you this. So if today I go out and there's a house for $110,000 and I buy it for $140,000, right? I say I'll give you $40,000 more for it. That's locked in, right? So they're not gonna raise the cost of it, nothing like that.
No. Whatever you agree, and it's like an agreement between you and the bank.
Okay.
So if you are on the hook to say I'm paying $140, they're gonna say this is your payment schedule. You need to pay on these dates or between these dates, and as long as you stay on schedule and pay, keep your payments up regularly, there you go. And
Gotcha.
now that's to say, let me go back a little bit. Now I'm not advocating that everybody pay, $20,000 and $30,000 over the list price. I know that's been a common thing that's been going on in this market. I normally advise my clients to not do that unless we absolutely have to, or I reserve those situations for a place where, this is a house like that has everything that you told me you wanted in it. It's not like missing anything that you said you wanted. You absolutely love this house. You love the area, and you don't want to. If you don't get this particular house, any other house that you get will be a tainted experience because it's not at the level of this particular house.
Gotcha.
So in those situations when it's like this house I absolutely love, then I recommend them to kind of go and do whatever they need to do to get it.
Right.
But other than that, I try to keep people away from that, because you don't want to have buyer's remorse. And sometimes it's like buying anything else. These purchases are sometimes emotional. And you don't want to get people to get swept up in the emotion of just competing. I just want to win the house just to say I won it, and stuff like that. Because sometimes people like to do that. It's like and it's like, no, because you got to pay this for the next 10 to 30 years.
You're trying to get them to see the reality of what they're doing.
So
right
you don't want people to
extend themselves
and put them in a bad situation. Because at the end of the day, I'm here to advise, and I don't want them to be operating on bad advice.
Right.
So
because if it goes south for them, they're going to be pointing the finger at you.
Soon as things don't go right for them, they're going to be like, he told me I could get this. He told me to do this.
He's just a greedy salesman that wants to sell the next
just trying
piece
to
of
get the top
property.
dollar. Yeah, exactly. I want to. My goal is truly to get something that you actually want and that you walked into, not something that I told you to get or kind of try to sell you on.
Here it meets all the checklist requirements. Now I know there's like 60 other people trying to do this right now, but is this what you want to be paying for 30 years.
Yeah, part of it is trying to calm them down. Like sometimes they get excited because it's like I said, it's a rush. When you see a house you like, it's like, okay, I like it. I love this house. I want it. And and sometimes people have the wherewithal to spend the money. Because sometimes you have people who want a house, they want to spend more for it, but they don't have the money. Then sometimes you have people who have all the money and they just like to compete.
Right.
And they want to just win and say they won. And sometimes you got to dial those people back and be like, hey, this is an investment. You might not want to do that. So
right,
it's a mixed bag, definitely, depending on the buyer.
I got you. So because actually, I'll reframe the question. I'm sure that you've dealt with people that their listing has sold much faster than even expected. Let's say 2 hours after it hits MLS, especially today's market, right? We're in 2021. It's December. Real estate has been ridiculously hot, selling fast. So what happens to somebody when it sells fast and they don't have anywhere to go?
It's actually it's a tough situation because it creates a lot of anxiety because you got to think it's like it's a chain of events. It's a chain reaction because it's like, okay, this person is leaving their place. They might have a lease or some situation. They're already agreeing to buy your place. Mm-hmm. Then they're getting ready to buy your place. They got to be out of where they live to move into your place. But then you can't move from your place because you're trying to find a place to go. And so it creates it's not even affecting just one family. Sometimes it's affecting 2 or 3 families
right
off one situation. And
does that get messy sometimes?
It does get messy, but the luxury of it is that we are in a seller's market. So if you're selling your home and you're having a hard time finding a home to buy, normally there's some luxury in you being able to tell that particular buyer who's buying your place to, hey, I've ran into a situation finding another place for me. Would you be okay with extending this deal out another 2 weeks or 3 weeks? Give us time to go into contract and maybe find something else. If that's particularly my seller, normally what I do is I actually prefer to get my seller, somebody to buy their home and get on the to sell their home before they actually go out and look. And I know a lot of times they don't want to do that, but it's actually in this market, to me, I find it's kind of like the best way to go because you can always, most of the time, extend that buyer. Mm-hmm. But what you can't do is most sellers would not sell their home to a person who has to sell their home before they buy theirs because that creates too much uncertainty for that seller. Right. So it's just the way the market works. It's just a little thing. So normally if I meet a client that's looking to sell, I try to, prep them on the front end and be like, hey, let's get your house ready. Let's get it locked in. Let's get it listed so that if you do want to buy, we can go that route. Or I try to maybe, there are some other options. We can look at new construction. Mm-hmm. We can look at new construction options. And that way we don't have to compete with so many people. Right. Or, it might be a particular area you want to be in, and I just like bird dog the area as far as like door knocking and going in that area and just seeing if there's things that I can do to, help them find a house that they actually want in the neighborhood they want. So it's a lot of things you can do in those situations, but, I just tell sellers, don't be scared because you're going to, in this particular market, if your house is in a good condition and it's a good area, you won't have any problem getting more than ask price in most instances. So that little bit of money or that little fear that you are met with, you're going to get more money when you sell your house. So you just get a little money for your troubles.
I got you. Yeah. So what are some good selling secrets for people? Like if you were wanting to either buying or selling, to be like, here's what you want to do with your house that you're either trying to sell or looking. Here, let's go from this angle here. I'm asking 2 different questions here. So if you're looking to sell your listing, what are some good tips to do? I mean, replacing AC units. I mean, the sweet items that no one thinks about off the hand that they learn as they start the process. Mm-hmm. So if you're going into that, then
Yeah. Well, the best clients normally, the best thing you probably can do is if you have a contractor friend or, if I'm coming to you, I normally would go ahead and get a home inspection for you before we list. So we can just kind of get an idea of what's going to come up or the major things that may be wrong with the house. I start with a consultation. I normally go out and walk the house with them and just kind of see some things that I could just from casual observation, I would see that I would know that need to be addressed. But the big thing is having your house clean, because you never know what type of person, what kind of buyer comes in your house.
Right.
Some people, they come in and look and they see a smudge by your light switch, on your light switch where you flicking your light switch up and down all the time. They say, oh, this light switch is dirty. We need to change these out. And some people don't like it. So I say clean. Make sure most stuff in your house is if it's working or not. Have things in working order. Try to nip all those like just routine things like little leaks up under the sink and drippy faucets and just nip as much of that in the bud as possible. Look at it like, your mama or, some dignitary like Oprah Winfrey or, I don't know, whoever somebody you think is,
right.
Just pretend that they are coming over your house for dinner.
Right. How would you want
How
to
would you
that?
set your house up for this person to
That's
come
actually
to your
good.
house? So
okay.
That would be my advice. Just think about it like that, and somebody you really want to impress. It could be a girl or a guy that you want to impress. Just think about that and just think about how you would set the place up for them. That's kind of how you want to set a house up when you're getting ready to sell it.
Right. And what about buying? So for people that are in my position, right, they're I mean, I'm not right now, but if I were to go out there and, I know nothing about buying a home, all I know is that I'd like these certain specs on a house. As a new home buyer, what should I be looking for?
As a new home buyer, you really looking for, I think, I would be looking for like location, what's important to me. Some people, proximity to work. Some people it's school zone. Some people it's, the safety of the neighborhood. Some people are strictly looking at a neighborhood based on, is it going up in value? Is it becoming like a hot spot? Is it a desired area that other people want to come to? They may not be staying there long and maybe they want resale value. So it's kind of like, almost like whatever you kind of value as a buyer, Some people, they want to be close to their family, So finding those things and kind of writing those out. The big thing is, I think, is trying to stick to those. And that's one of the things I do as a realtor when I'm working with buyers is if they tell me, I want 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and a bonus room. I try to make sure I find them a house that has those things, that they value. Or my kid goes to this school right here and they don't want to be away from their friends. They're going to go to middle school, so they want to be in an area where they're still able to go to their school. So it's with buyers, it's a mixed bag because with a seller, your big thing is normally top value,
right,
or top dollar for when you sell it.
Right.
But when you buying, that's not necessarily, the cheapest price ain't necessarily the most important thing. It depends. Other things matter. So the big thing is finding out what matters to them and making sure that I'm able to deliver on that for them.
Gotcha. So what the audience and myself are both pulling from this is the fact that you're not taking shortcuts. You're making sure that, my client is taken care of correctly. That they're well informed and, if you see that they're kind of getting ahead of the game and going too fast, and hey, I'm professional enough to help dial you back in, pull you back, and say, hey, let's think logically about this. Are you in a competition for just a listing, or are you actually wanting to pay X amount for this listing right here? Absolutely. So that's good that you're not willing to put a bank account at risk or someone's financial status at risk.
No, because at the end of the day, you want them to be happy with what they purchase. It's not like real estate is one of them weird things because it's not a lot of things that you buy
Right.
that you have to listen to other people on. You know, most of the time you go to the store, you want some milk, you just buy some milk.
Right.
And if the milk stinks or you bought the wrong kind, you bought 2% instead of vitamin D, you just mad at yourself. Nobody else. Nobody else bought it. You bought it. Like,
Right.
you know, but when it comes to cars and houses and things of that nature, you can run the risk of, sending somebody up the river.
Right.
And I don't want to do that. So my mindset is always like, look at me like I'm a tool in your toolbox.
Right.
I'm like Google for houses.
Okay. I like it.
You got a question about this house or that house. You got a question about this neighborhood. I'm here to give you information.
Right.
To inform your decision about what are you going to do.
Right.
That's my only job. My job is not to make you buy anything. It's not to convince you to buy or convince you to sell.
The product's going to sell itself.
Yeah, my job is strictly to give you information. So if you say, I want a house in this neighborhood, and then we looking at houses and you looking at a house that's in another neighborhood, it is my job to be like, hey, you said you wanted a house over here.
Right.
This house is not in that area. What is it about this house that'll make you not pay attention to what you said you wanted,
right,
and want this house?
Right.
It's not like that. I'm not trying to force that person or
right.
Yeah, you can buy what you want.
You're just trying to dial them in, slow
but
down.
I just want to make sure.
That.
Yeah, exactly. I just want
Right.
to process it and talk them through it and make sure they're making the best decision for them.
Right.
Like I said, because most of the time, the average person is going to stay in a house at minimum 2 years, 3 years. So.
Oh wow! Really, just 3 years?
Yeah, at least. Usually longer, but most people, even if they buy a house, they not gonna move out right away. Wow. Even if they hate it, unless something,
Yeah, unless something terribly goes south.
Yeah, so. Something terrible happens, a death in the family, XYZ. But most people stay in the house for at least a year or so. So, you don't want to be stuck with that decision. I want everybody to, my goal is to make sure every client is loving their home. I follow up with my clients and say, hey, you still loving your house? Is everything okay with your house?
Right.
Because I want them to make sure that it's a good decision. They feel like this is a good decision they made, not just when they buy it, but 2 and 3 years later, 4 years later, Right. I've been in real estate 4 years, so I'm still checking with clients now.
Yeah, just following up with
from
them.
my first clients and making sure they're still happy with their, so.
I'm not just going to sell you a house then dip,
Right.
I'm still here.
Yeah. and I mean, I'm sure some people are transactional like that, but I take pride in being able to, reach out and touch my clients and them being able to reach out and get in touch with me as well. So.
There you go. So throwing it ahead, so you're getting, you've already got the Tennessee, you've got these different licenses. What's it all going to accumulate up to on the realtor side of things? So how much longer are you thinking you're going to want to stay in the role of a realtor?
I don't think I'm ever going to give up being a realtor. I like it. I love the interaction of it. I love being able to help. Now, how I do that may expand as I grow in the business, but I definitely want to always be able to provide stuff for my buyers and the people who selling in this market as well. I want to offer solutions.
Gotcha. So
that's my thing. And one of the big issues that we have in Memphis right now is affordable housing. There's a lot of new construction coming up and stuff in certain areas, but it's not necessarily at a price point that's, for the most of the buyers that we have here. So, for example, most of the new construction just down here now is at the lowest $250,000, but more than likely, almost all the new construction is probably over $300,000 right now. Whereas most of the buyers in Memphis are in that $250,000 and under price range. So I think if we had affordable housing, like say at like $200,000 or something like that, we would be solving a major thing, and we'll have a lot more houses for the people who are able to buy houses at this particular time. So that's something that I would want to kind of that's an issue that I would probably want to try to solve as I grow in real estate.
Right.
So it's not necessarily I can, obviously I would be profiting, but I'm also solving a problem that we have here within the city.
So what roles, I guess, of expansion are there for you?
Where you got contracting, you got the actual contracting side, which is the actual going into homes and fixing them up and beautifying them.
Okay.
You also got the leg of development, whereas I may buy like a larger piece of land where I can put multiple homes on.
Okay.
And create a development. And then, you know, as a realtor, obviously I can expand into being a broker and having my own firm of agents who work with me, or I wouldn't say for me because they work for themselves, but they would work under my company and do real estate and do their business under me. So they're definitely like, and that's just a few ways that I could expand, obviously. But
so you're gonna be like a Ryan Serhant of sorts.
Yeah,
you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know who Ryan Serhant is?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I've heard of him.
Okay.
I don't know him.
So Ryan Serhant, he's a realtor out of New York City, and he went from, you know, he was 20 years old living in New York City. He got his realtor license, and he was literally walking up to random people in New York City going, hey, do you want to buy, sell, or flip real estate with me? And, you know, now he's on like 3 different, you know, Broadway shows. He's got his own YouTube vlog, and, you know, he sells apartments worth, you know, $50 million plus, you know, penthouses in New York City. So, but he opened up his own brokerage. And so kind of like what you were saying is that kind of concept, because he's, you know, his own media team. You know, he's got a 7-floor building where, you know, different things are done at, you know, the different floors of the building. So one thing I think that you should probably do is a YouTube channel. You should get a vlog one of these days, right?
I've been thinking about it. Like the big thing about real estate, and most realtors will tell you this, is it's a lot of self-promotion. Like, you know, it's a very much I ain't gonna say people got egos or anything like that, but it's just one of those things. If you're not after putting yourself out there, the appearance is that you're not doing any business. So if I don't post my business or show that I'm doing business, the perception can easily become that I'm not doing any business. So, you know, I love the idea of doing a channel. It's just that,
you know, the meaning of
and I feel like it's such
a perception of that. You're like, I don't like how would this look, and
and on top of that, it's such a departure from who I am. I'm very like I'm a low key kind of guy. Like I kind of like operate behind the scenes a little bit.
Yeah, I know, but dude is selling $50 million penthouses to people in China over FaceTime. Like, come on, man.
Because you got to do that.
You got to join this wave, baby.
Yeah, because people
got to get on it.
Because people buy personality, people buy energy.
Yeah,
people buy personality.
They feel like they know you,
and they like his energy. They probably like his vibe. They like how he approaches it, and you get business just off of that alone.
Now that's just an idea, because I know that we're going a lot, you know, virtual with a lot of different things. So that may be something that you're.
Well, I'm gonna go and put my dude. I heard Network Spielberg. He told me.
Do it, what I'm saying? Man. He's a killer at editing. I
love to tap in and just try to find new energy. Like I said, I'm an energy person myself, so I mean I get it, you know. So a part of it is like me getting out of my own shell. I'm working on it. You see, I'm doing this podcast.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Adrian Henning, everybody now. Yeah, so you told me that you've got a real estate horror story. I want to hear about that. Tell us about it. What's the story?
Well, I mean, every realtor got their own story, but my story was like, it was my first year in real estate, right? Okay. So I'm new. I'm looking for any business. You know, when you first start, you know how it is. Like how I met you even. Like you know how it is when you just young and you hungry. Any business, it ain't a bad business proposition at all. Like, you know, anybody. So I met this wonderful couple, like married, established, had a beautiful home out in off of Walnut Grove, nice area. They were selling their home. They wanted to buy another home closer to like downtown, you know. So I had their house listed at like $270. They were buying a house like $330. So, you know, if you know anything about real estate, the commissions on that is like 3%. So this is probably around, you know, close to a $20,000 deal. Easily the biggest deal that my first year of real estate, easily the biggest transaction of the set of deals I've done at this point.
Okay.
And We go all the way through the deal. They find the house they want. They put their house up for sale. We got everything set. Somebody wants to buy their house. We're under contract for them, selling their house. They found the house they want to buy. They're under contract. It's like beautiful. Everything's going good.
Right.
They're going to close about a week apart. Fast forward, the appraisal comes in short on the house that they're selling by about $7,000. So now the sellers don't want to sell their house.
Oh.
They don't want to sell.
Oh, no.
So they don't want to sell. Obviously, they're not going to buy. So I call the lender, I call the buyers, I call the title company that's done the closing. We get them to like do some workarounds, try to reduce this $7,000 that they, came up short, and just try to make it work so they can kind of move forward and do the deal. They say, you know what, I appreciate y'all doing all that, but y'all shouldn't have to do all that. We just gonna keep our home and we're not gonna buy right now.
Oh.
Crushed.
Dang.
Crushed.
Ugh.
I was so crushed. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I kind of went into like a little mini depression. Like, I was like hurt for about 3 weeks. It was like, because, I don't know. 20 bands is a lot. So it's like, it's a lot. 20 bands is a lot. And it's really a lot when you think it's in your hands already. When you know it's like, oh, I got 20 bands coming next week. And then something happened and it ain't there no more. Like,
right.
So, yeah, it was one of the worst things, in real estate I've experienced thus far, just because it's like, as a realtor, you do a lot of business, you do a lot of work, and you don't necessarily see the fruits of your work immediately. You got to do it. Even if you go into contract, you waiting like a month to 6 weeks before you actually get paid.
Oh, wow.
So, it's not like a situation where somebody bought a house today and it's like they bought it and the money's in your hand that day. It's like it's a process till you get money. So when you get these deals and you got these deals and you think they coming, you like expecting them. At this point, you ain't signed up. Everything is signed. Everything is good. You thinking like, yeah, in a week or two, my money's going to be here. We're going to close. I'm going to get paid. And then a week before it doesn't, that changes everything. So yeah, that's
I hate it when that happens.
That's one of
I hate that
several.
For you. I hate that for you.
That was one that kind of changed things.
It hit you real hard.
Yeah,
right there
it still hit me a little bit now. Yeah, it still hit me now.
Very nice. So, in closing with this podcast, what advice do you have for people that are entering this game, this real estate market?
Just don't be patient. I know that everybody's hearing that the market
is
a big
word right there. Patient.
Yeah, be patient. Yeah, everybody's saying the market is like really crazy, and I think some people are getting afraid of getting in the market because of what people paying, $20,000 and $30,000 over and this and that, and everybody's experience in the market is different. What you got to know. So you can't let what another person says about going out here and buying a house affect. If you really want a house, you should go ahead and do the things you need to do to get prepared to buy one, and not let somebody else tell you a horror story like I just about their experience, and let that keep you. Because for every person that's like, I can't find something and I'm having a hard time, it's this other person who's like, I went out, I got approved. The first house I saw, I loved it. I wrote an offer and I got it. And I didn't have to pay all this extra money. I didn't have to do all this. Actually, I got my down payment and my closing paid for, and I didn't take any money out of my pocket. So it's like, you can't let what another person's story be your story. It's like, you got to go out here, call me, and let me walk you through the process.
There you go.
Let's see what's out there for you.
There you go. So if you want a quality, caring real estate agent to help you sell, buy, get you ready for doing either or maybe both, give him a shout on Facebook. That's Adrian Henning. I'm going to put all your information in the description.
Put all of it
down below. So be sure to reach out to the 6'7" realtor, my buddy Adrian Henning. Buddy, thank you for joining me on this podcast.
Man, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It was fun. It was easy. It wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. So,
it wasn't as intimidating, was it?
Nah, not at all.
Were you expecting something more formal? And
no, man, it's just, you got the camera up here, you got the light, you walk in, it's just a little, it's like it's a thing,
Yeah.
So,
we try to look as legit as possible.
Right. It's a thing. So I just want to make sure I'm right.
There you go. Well, hey guys, if this podcast has opened your knowledge about real estate, has taken some fear away from you guys regarding real estate, buying, selling it, anything in that world, drop a comment down below. And if you guys are needing a great realtor, like I said, reach out to my boy Adrian Henning. Fantastic realtor.
Henning Homes, baby. ahenninghomes.com.
Log
on.
All right. There you go. So is Henning Homes, is that going to be like your brokerage one day, or what is that?
We gonna see, man. We gonna see where it go. But it's Henning Homes right now. I just wanted to be
Homes.
Yeah, well, it's really just Henning Homes, and I do that just because I wanted to be, when you see it, you know it. Right. If I'm renovating a property and you see the sign in the yard, you'll know, hey, Adrian over there doing that house. It's gonna be done right.
Right.
So I just kind of wanted to be synonymous with quality, and you know what you expect. When you see my name up there. So.
There you go. Well, guys, hit him up. Let us know in the comments section if you guys have any questions, because we're definitely going to do a part 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 after this, because there's a lot of things. Due to my lack of understanding in the real estate world, there's a lot of questions that are probably really, really solid that I'm just not thinking to ask. Yeah. So if you guys out there have any questions for Adrian, you can send those to me and we can do another podcast here. You can also send them to him to get an answer a lot faster. So maybe those questions will help future home buyers and home sellers. So thank you guys for joining. Don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button, ring the notifications bell, show love to the channel. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Thank you so much for dropping by for podcast number 3. I will see you guys on podcast number 4. Good night from the Lion's Den.